Doug, I believe you take it. W4 DCS in the group KZ approval over.
W4 DCS. And yeah, John, you're booming in here. And sounding good. Good luck with the surgery. I hope you make out okay with that. I know that's no fun. And Mir, I don't know if you're able to listen, but wishing you the best as well. And Steve, I'm not sure how you got him in holding up the phone to the microphone, but it worked great. I could hear him very well here, so fine business on that. And Chuck, imagine that, you and Cliff bringing all that stuff back from the Hamfest. I wouldn't expect a whole lot less. Hope you guys had a good time. I'm sure you did. But, yeah, beating Alabama, that's big time. I heard that, and that's a really good deal. I'm on the Harvey Wells, putting, I don't know, 15 watts or so into the SP220. I've been blowing stuff up this week, blowing fuses and blew up my Class E rig, blew up the modulator in it, pushing it to the limit. You know, I didn't, the power supply isn't up to speed, and I didn't have the FETs and the modulator properly heat synced, so I got exactly what I asked for. That's how it usually works. And went over to Lowe's this morning. I'm setting up a second operating station, and went in there. I needed a ground rod and some ground cable, and go back in the alley. Everything's locked up. You can't get to any of the electrical wiring stuff. I guess they've got a problem there with people loading carts and walking out the door with it, so you can't get to it, which is kind of surprising. And anyway, picked up a couple gallons of paint for my deck. $47 a gallon. Like, oh Lord. So I'm going to try to get that done while we've got a weather window here. Anyways, enough out of me. Charlie, you are light, but you're making it in here okay. N4WD, Bruce, W4DCS.
Okay, W4DCS, N4WD. And Chuck, Cliff, it was good seeing y'all in Chattanooga yesterday. Cliff, we picked that up. It cost that rig. It cost me $10 more than I wanted to pay, but got it home, did some cleaning up on it, checked some circuitry where it had been reworked and reworked it again, and it's working good. 100 watts carrier, modulation's good on it. I think I'm going to have to replace one of the 5R4 sockets because it had been operated with it not plugged in the socket all the way, and it kind of burned the contacts. I furnished them up to get it going, and it seemed to do okay, but I probably have to get one of those ceramic sockets and replace it to keep it going like it should be. 76 degrees, supposed to be down in the mid-40s all week and up in the 80s. Off and on, high 70s, low 80s. Cliff, down to you. NKL, N4WD.
N4WD, it's WB4NKL. Good deal, Bruce, and glad you got that transmitter. If I hadn't already had to, I would have probably brought it home too, but Chuck was running out of room in his car, and I didn't need another one, so I'm glad you got it, and that was a good deal with the mic and everything there ready to go. So if you need one of those sockets, let me know. Let's see, it's cooled down a little bit here, 65 degrees. It's been up in the 70s, right low 70s here today. Pretty nice, like Chuck said, and enjoyed the day. Say hello to Mir if you've still got him listening, Steve. You know, the phone patch sound good. I've got a I picked up a Gonset phone patch there yesterday at the Hamfest. I guess it'd be for $1. It looks so good. It's the only reason I bought it, but I guess that'd be hard to interface into a cell phone. Let's see. Charlie, you sound good here. I don't know. Pretty good signal on my end. So no problems. I'll send it on around. I get a big group in here today. Go ahead, Boone. WA4EVK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, WA4EVK. Good deal there here in Mir. Appreciate it, Steve. Now we know he really is doing around. Works mostly outside. It's about 77 degrees here, going down to the mid-40s overnight. And Charlie, it must be propagation, but you are very weak over here in Pickens. I'm about 5 miles away from Glen. I don't know what's going on, but we're on a null or something over here. Not much else for that right now. John, hope your surgery goes well. And Doug, I believe it was talking about the wire. About 2 years ago, I was working part-time at Home Depot, and to show you what happened when the, maybe 3 years now, 2-3 years, when the Romex prices shot through the roof, I got involved in stopping a couple one night that was at the register, and they had a bathtub, which is in a big cardboard carton. It carefully cut that carton open, filled the bathtub with Romex, and while trying to check out at the register for the price of the bathtub, and got caught. Well, they just walked off with the non-interference policy they have. They just walked out there and got in the car and left. Anyway, with that, I'm going to send it over to Glenn, my neighbor over there. N4AK to take it, WA4EVK.
Okay, WA4EVK in the group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. Well, I'm glad, Boone, that the signal strength from Charlie is the same over there, so it must be propagation. But I could barely hear him calling the net initially, so I don't know if you've changed the orientation of your dipole there, Charlie, or something. I'm on a true boat anchor this afternoon. I'm on a DX100, about 100 watts, G5 RV antenna. It's a D4, D104 microphone, but it's got the higher HC5 element in it. You have to put a little transform and all in it, so I had a Heil mic that was bad, so this is a Heil HC5 element, if any of you fellows are curious. Receiving on a HQ180. And Steve, first phone patch I've probably heard in 50 years. I don't know how you did it, but it was very clear. And Mir, thinking about you, and praying you'll continue to get better with your surgery, so you'll be hopping around square dancing soon. And Jimmy, I hope everything is calmed down up there at Burnsville. I know y'all got hit very hard, and power-wise and otherwise. And John, I'm thinking about you on your surgery coming up next week. So hopefully you get through that okay and you're back on the air. And yours is the strongest signal in here to Sunset this afternoon, but all signals were good except just for the propagation with Charlie. So, Jimmy, to you, K4JAL, N4AK.
N4AK, K4JAL. Well, thanks, Glenn, and the group. Hope, Mir, the pain isn't too bad and you get well quick. And John, I hope your surgery goes well, too. I'm on an unamplified D104 into a Johnson Viking 2, listening on a R390A and propagating through a Cobra antenna. We have water back, Charlie. It's gray water. We have to boil it, and will for some time to come, I guess, but we've got nearly everything normalized now. I went out and put the Starlink over here at the hideout on the deck, just laid it down out there, and I've got between 150 at the best to 30 MIPS, which is wonderful, and when I get it properly installed, I think I'll have really a good internet connection over here. They should finish up my roof Monday and Tuesday, so progress is being made. You were light up here, Charlie, but I guess that's propagation. I'll turn it over to Doak, WM4PFI K4JAL.
K4JAL, this is WM4PFI, thanks Jimmy. Good afternoon to everyone. It's 64 degrees here in Suches. Been a very pleasant, nice day here today. And not a lot going on. I got something to say on the next round, but I'll wait and do that. But good to hear everybody here. Charlie, you are a little weak here today. You normally have one of the strongest signals. And then I got concerned that it was reciprocating, and my signal's not very good at your place today, but I'm copying you okay. You're just a little weaker than normal. Everybody else is fine. Very good signals. So Charlie, I'll turn it back over to you. W4MEC, WN4PFI.
Okay, Doug, very good. WN4PFI, the old friends of WF4MEC. Do we have any stations that would like to join us? Come now.
WA4FJQ.
Okay, got Tom. Anybody else? Okay, Tom, you'll be after Doak on the next go-round, WN4PFI, so go ahead and make a transmission and turn it back to me, WA4FJQ, W4MEC.
Yeah, W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ. Okay. Yeah, I got a little SDR QRP radio going here. I was playing with it, and it took me a little while to get it to work. I would love to hear some signal reports. It only puts out 1 watt on AM, and I'm feeding that over to the Centurion. So I got about 40 watts carrier and maybe 150 or 60 or so on peaks, but this is the first time I've ever tried the thing on AM, and just wanted to see how it would work. So if when we go back for the next round, if some of the fellows want to give me a signal report on it, I would appreciate that. So I'll turn it, let's see, back to you, Charlie. W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ.
Very good, Tom. WA4FJQ, W4MEC. Any further check-ins? Nothing heard. W4MEC, the old friends. Well, sorry for the light signal. I think it's more propagation. And Glenn, my 480-meter dipole bit the dust in the storm, and I have to find 2 new supports for it. I haven't done that yet. If I want to put it back in the same azimuth I had it before. You're kind of off the end of the 160-meter inverted V, so that might be contributing a little bit. It's good to hear Mir. I don't know if he's still listening, and my first thought was, well, Steve got him a phone patch hooked up and working, and then I thought for a minute, well, maybe he's just holding the mic up to the cell phone. Making it simple. Let's see, Glenn and Boone, you were both the same signal strength, S8.5, a little QSB on you, but solid Q5 copy. And I also blew something up here, Dave. Doug, this week I was measuring a transformer with a 1400 volt secondary, and I thought this fluke meter I had would read it, but it didn't. And I heard a snap, crackle, pop, and that was it. Blew the fuse. I thought for a closer, that's all it is. It's got a little blown fuse in it, but nope. And it's one I picked up, I think Richard gave it to me. and it did not have, it was a pretty good sized meter, but 3/4 of it was nothing but storage box. So I took my bandsaw, because I didn't have anything to store in it, because it didn't come with anything. I took my bandsaw and cut the whole back of that thing off and relocated the feet, and I had this thing about 3 inches deep and 10 inches wide, and there's a nice little meter there, but now I don't, so I guess I'm going to have to find one. Let's see, yeah, that's I think on my notes here on that. I'm glad to hear the water's running there, Jimmy, and potable is not potable, but we went with the grandkids. It's my son and daughter-in-law's 18th wedding anniversary today, and they went out last night to eat, and we all took the grandkids over to one of their favorite restaurants, which was a buffet-style Chinese restaurant up in Asheville, and they had no water. Everything there was plastic forks and knives, paper plates, styrofoam plates, plastic cups. They had some soda. They had some tea, but they had no water to drink. All the food was good, but they were doing the best they could, waiting for the water to come back. So they're still. I didn't realize it reached that far, because it's it's kind of hard to believe that place is considered in Asheville, but I guess it is. So, all right, let's go around again with Steve and LQ and the group for me.
Okay. Let me Okay, 4LQ and the old friends in 4IYQ. Well, Charlie, I'm sure the snap, crackle, and pop probably got your attention. And the Chinese sounds good. Cliff and I stopped and had PF Chang's on the way. There's not one around here. I know there's one between Asheville and Hendersonville, but I've never tried that one. And we came a different way back at some suggestions of some people we cut across at Cleveland, Tennessee, and come across towards the mountains near Benton and picked up 411, run 411 all the way up to Maryville, Tennessee. Well, actually, on over to Seymour near the highway that goes to Sevierville, between Sevierville and Knoxville. Did see a glider port down there that was interesting. We pulled off for a minute. There was a plane towing up a two-passenger glider. We watched a little bit of that, and looked in the rearview mirror, and we had a horse and buggy Amish couple coming up behind us. So I looked at a little bit about the glider port today online, looked at some videos, and yeah, Steve, I hate you even mentioned deck paint. I've got to do that. That was actually Doug that I think went over and got him some. And Bruce, we appreciate you waiting until we departed to pick up the big heavy transmitter and all that stuff and save our backs. John, the 10DA sounds good. Might have been a little hot, as I said earlier. I've got one laying over here that I plug in on occasion, and certainly do hope that your surgery goes well with no complications and a quick recovery. T150 sounds good as always. And Doug, I hate you were blowing things up over there this week. That's not a good thing to do, but the Harvey Wells certainly sounds great. And my temperature here is 65. I must be in the sun with the unit reporting into the house here, so I'm closer. I'm about what Cliff said, and 76 degrees and mid-40s at night certainly sound good down that way, Bruce. Like I say, it was good to see. And the little Gonset foam patch Cliff picked up was certainly slick-looking little unit. And like I say, we didn't go planning on picking anything up down there, and took Tammy's car, and doesn't have the most room in the world. We folded the seats down, and I think I finally had to look at Cliff and say, you need to slow down. And Boone, the same on the temperature, nice down there. And the DX100, Glenn, sounds great up this way with the G5 RV. And I think you said a H5C or a HC5 Element from Howe. And Jimmy, glad things are calming down over that way. We tried to coax you over here and couldn't talk you into coming, but hope you and Helen are doing well, and glad things are calming down. Doak, 64 degrees, sounds with pretty temperature down that way. And Tom, the 1 watt, the SDR sounds great in East Tennessee. Who's that 4 Bravo to pick it up and take it in 4IYQ?
Okay, in 4IYQ in the group, KZ4B, fine business, Chuck. You've got a very good signal coming in here. And I appreciate the feedback on the mic, and Doug, the feedback on the signal strength. So he is working after a fashion. And we're on the usual 80 meter inverted B. We've been playing a lot with our D104 mics, adding, I'm using stereo 1/4-inch jacks to the mics, plugging into an inline, and then spinning from there and running one cable to the mic input and another cable to the key input. I think Steve's doing something similar on some of his rigs, and that way everything is stock, but you've got push to talk. and I forget what the number. I think it's a 1708. I'm using the MFJ SDR-TR switch. I may actually try to do that. I need to get my Helicrafters HT32 and HT33A, HT32A and 33A going and using it with my SX115. That's my true boat anchor rig, and that's one good thing. You know, a lot of people look down on Helicrafters relative to calling stuff, but Helicrafters hung in with AM capability, even though the HT32A is a sideband rig, and it's transmitting a very low, about a 25 watt output to drive the HT33A, but it'll kick it on up to about 250 watts. And the only problem there is that both the 33A and the 33B amplifiers use the, I think it's an 8295, it was the old PL172 Pinto. Not a bad tube, but just impossible to find. And I looked into a couple of Elmacs back when the Dayton Ham Fest was at Dayton at Hara Arena. And so if they didn't go gassy on me, I should be in pretty good shape. And so that's on the bucket list of things to do in my spare time, which I have none of. Seems like every time I turn around, I get sidetracked into something totally unrelated to ham radio. One last comment. My son and his wife had moved to Myrtle Beach, visited yesterday, and they co-own a real estate company in Cornelius where they used to live, and they're trying to start one up at Myrtle Beach. So she does a lot of back and forth, and he does a lot of back and forth because he works for Duke, and once a month at least has to come to Charlotte for a face-to-face, even though he's fortunate enough to get to work out of his home. So it was nice to see him, and we had a real ball when we went to Myrtle Beach. Well, I don't want the amplifier to melt, so I'm going to pass it on over to Doug. And Doug, you're really booming in here. W4DCS and the group KZ, 4B over. And Charlie, I'm hearing you okay. Bye.
Hey, Cloud. We're going to chase the VFO on this thing. Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. But thanks, John. I appreciate it. And you're booming in here as well. And yeah, Tom, the little rig is doing fine. Sounds good. Actually making some good AM. And I don't have a whole lot going on. I got to power wash the deck. I'm gonna try. I've been putting that off, and I need to get that done. So I'll probably get going on that tomorrow and try to get some paint on. I had some boards that needed to be replaced. I had some guys come and give me an estimate, and it was like $8,000 to replank the deck. I'm like, okay, I'm cranking up the truck and going to Lowe's and get me some boards. So I patched it up, and I'm going to paint it, should be fine. What else? I made all kinds of notes, but everybody sounded good. You came up on that round, Charlie. And I was going to say, yes, I've got a D104 with the HC5 little chiclet thing in it, and I like it okay. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of gain, so I'm not overly impressed with it, but they seem to have been a, highly sought after. As a Bob Heil thing, and I think they discontinued. I don't know where he was getting them, but I do have one. I'm on a Silver Eagle, compliments of WD4OUM, and it seems to be doing good. I finally got around to wiring it up and hooking it into this Harvey Wells, which was compliments of Cliff. And it's such a neat rig. I mean, I went through it and, cleaned it up. You know what, my memory is not as good as it used to be, so I don't remember whether I added push to talk to it. It's been a while back, so I don't really remember everything I did to it, but it's a really cool rig. I've been enjoying it. And what else? Yeah, I'm setting up another station. I've got the 32V3 and a 75A1 I want to set up in here, and so I'm setting up a second operating station over on the other side of the room, and that was the deal with Lowe's. But yeah, they had all the electronics tools were locked behind plexiglass. You couldn't get to them. All the wiring behind these cage things, and I was thinking, man, I'll tell you what, what's the world coming to? But anyway, everything's self-check out there too. You have to do it yourself, and the darn ground route I had wouldn't scan, and you wouldn't believe the ordeal that turned into. But anyway, enough whining and complaining out of me. Yeah, Chuck, you're sounding real good, booming in here, and I'm sure you guys had a good time at the Hamfest there. And brought back, I'm glad you took a small car. If you'd have taken Cliff's rig, you'd probably brought back all kinds of stuff. Enough out of me. N4WD, W4DCS.
Okay, N4DCS, N4WD. And Steve, if you're still listening, I apologize in my conversation earlier. I'm glad you're getting rehab there and doing good. Continue. And keep you in our prayers in the surgery. I think someone said they were having sometime sooner or later. I'll probably have to do the same thing on get some implants put in. Other than that, pretty good. Tom, the QRP rig, I could hear you, but I'm so far away. You're doing good. I'll put it that way. And let's see, Glenn, your DX100. That's what I bought at the Hamfest yesterday and went through. Got an modulation transformer in it. Got one of the rectifier tubes, the socket. They didn't have a tube plugged in. I don't know how long they working like that. It wasn't plugged in all the way. And had the pins from the socket were a little bit on the burnt side. So other than that, everything's good. I'm going to back out, gentlemen. I'm going to say 73 this round. Y'all have a blessed week to come. Take care of each other. And we'll catch you. If we get up early enough in the morning, we'll catch you in the morning. If we don't, we'll catch you next weekend. N4WD.
N4WD, it's WB4NKL. Okay, Bruce, good copy. And it's, like I say, it was good to see you there yesterday. And Tom, you've got a good signal with the 40 watts here into Tennessee. No problem, like Chuck said. So it's working for you. And Steve gave you a more thorough audio report, but all I can say is on my speaker, it sounds great. I don't have much more here. Like I say, we did have a good time at the Ham Fest. I always enjoy them, whatever they are. But there was a fella come in with a trailer load of stuff, and we're picking through that. So that's where a lot of it come from. But then Norm, W7IUC, he brought some stuff for me to look at, and a Drake L7 amplifier that he was given to me, and so we ended up pretty good load in Chuck's car. He was looking around for some cardboard to sit, so he could put on top of everything, and we could start a second layer, but we didn't get that far. Go ahead and say 73s. I guess time it gets back around, it'll be getting late. So enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Charlie. Send it on to Boone. WA4EVK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, WA4EVK. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to say 73s and get out of here. I just got the dinner call, and don't want to miss that. I enjoyed it. Good to hear from Mir. And Charlie, thanks for calling this thing. The propagation has stayed pretty constant, so on signal strength. So we're probably, Glenn and I are probably in the null or something off that antenna. Anyway, not be too worried about it. And I'll say 73s to everybody and pass it on down to Glenn. N4AK to take it. WA4EVK.
Okay, Boone. WA4EVK, November 4 Alpha Kilo. Still 70 degrees over here at sunset. Very pleasant this afternoon. And by the way, this D104 with a HC5 Howell element is non-amplified. So it's a nice setup with a DX100. Seems to be anyway. And Doug, on the decks, I finally found out you use something like Trex, and it takes they last a lot longer. But when you use Trex, you definitely don't want to have the joist 24 inches because the Trex gives. So 18 minimum. But if I were doing joists under a deck using Trex, I would use 12 inches with this hot weather down south. It'll just bend. And another interesting thing, I had a mind fart trying to think of what a joist was. And I asked Siri what the support boards under a deck was called. And unbelievably, it came up with the word joist. So as you age, Siri is an aid to the memory, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Charlie, for doing the net. Would be curious if you had another antenna to change it to see how the propagation would work out between us. And Jimmy, it's great to know that you're finally getting water, even though you got to boil it. And I remember the Army, we used to, well, the Boy Scouts, we used to put those chlorine tablets in it. Gosh, that wasn't, you had to be thirsty to drink that water. K4JAL and 4AK.
N4AK in the group. K4JAL. Yeah, I remember a lot of things about hygiene in the Army. I never did get put on the crap burning details, though, they had in Vietnam. They did that mostly with people that had some kind of a medical profile and didn't have to participate in the war, so they got to burn the doo-doo. Unpleasant thought. While I was waiting on my turn again, I got to fiddling around with this Starlink. It's sitting on the table in here in the hideout behind the shack under the roof, and I'm getting 30 MIPS or megabits per second inside. These things are phenomenal. They really are. And Charlie, I don't know where the wastewater's been going, but I would suspect it goes in our glorious rivers that just wiped out our county. They deserve it. I don't mean that, really. Okay, over to WM4PFI K4JAL. I'll say 7-3, guy.
K4JAL, WN4 PFI in Suches. I did want to share one thing. A number of years ago, I had an opportunity to go up to Bernardsville. Found out that the locals there kind of run that word together and made it Barnardsville or Barnardsville, like it was Barnesville. But anyway, you folks that live up that way, he was a pastor of a little Methodist church there in Barnesville, and enjoyed the couple of times I got to stay up there in that part of North Carolina. But it's, as far as I remember, as best I can remember, it's unincorporated. And Suches, where I live, is also unincorporated. And some people here have chosen Barnesville and kind of want to partner with them as far as being able to help. And so they're making some contacts there about things that they need that we are going to try to supply here from Suches. And one other thing that I want to ask some help. My wife is a quilt maker, and she's got a couple of quilts here. I think she said she would donate if we could get it in the hands of the right people that need it. I think she's a little leery of just putting it on a truck to go up there and then someone just deciding to take it and not getting it to the right people. If someone's got a contact, a good contact, if you want to drop me a line on the email, it would be appreciated. 73, I'll be getting out here too. Thanks, Charlie, for running the net today, and I hope everyone has a wonderful week. So, let's see. Goes to Tom, WA4FJQ. This is WN4PFI. Be clear. Good afternoon, guys.
WN4PFI, this is WA4FJQ. Okay. Well, Chuck, Doug, and Cliff, thanks for the signal reports on this little box. See, this thing is Hermes Light 2+. It's a kit. Takes you an afternoon to get it together. It's just a couple of printed circuit boards, and comes with a nice case and everything. It's about the size of, about double the size of a smartphone. And as far as the power, it's actually putting out about 2 watts into the Centurion. And this MFJ watt meter is reading right now on peaks somewhere around 100 watts or so. So that's what it is. The hardware is just part of it. The real part of the thing is a very sophisticated software package called Thetis, and that comes from Flex Radio way back. That was some of the stuff that they developed way back when, and people have taken it and modified it and improved it and all that kind of stuff. And it's very impressive, especially with its noise reduction capabilities. You can switch in a number of different algorithms based on FFTs and that sort of thing, and it will take the noise right out, so it works very well. But I just wanted to try it out and see how it would work. The microphone here is a Heil. It's pretty sensitive, and if you heard some mushy stuff coming from the audio, it was probably the HVAC in the background going, which is about 3 or 4 feet away from me. I'm kind of shoehorned into this little space out here in the utility room. Copying everybody very well, especially with this rig, but we'll be back on the vintage rig hopefully next weekend. Just wanted to give it a try. So we'll say 73s, turn it back up to Charlie, and here it comes. W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ, off and clear.
Okay, Tom, W4FJQ in the group W4MEC. I forgot to comment last time. You were S7 on your first transmission, S7, S8, S9 on this one, little QSB. sounds real good. I think you could probably use a little bit more highs in it. It's kind of bassy. Probably make it sound more like yourself. If you've got an equalizer in the software there, you might bump up a little treble. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, let's see. We can do a quick 73 round. I think there's 3 or 4 of us left here. And Steve, I think it was you. Somebody fired up a RTTY diddle there on top of you. Maybe it was Chuck. I can't remember now. I was expecting to hear a CQ or a RY fired off there, but they didn't go to that level, and they also did an ID on CW. Do you still have to ID on CW if you're doing RTTY? I have to look that up. The other thing, I was going to make a joke about Mir if he was still listening. I was wondering if it's kind of like the auto parts in the mechanic. You know, you take it there, and a lot of times they have a checkbox that says, "Do you want the old parts back?" So I wondered if you get to take the knees back with you and put them in a jar or something, you know. Anyway, let's get going here with the 73 round, and we'll shut her down. N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
N4LQ, N4IYQ. Well, I'll make this a quick one. Charlie, thanks for the net and keeping us all in line and in check. Certainly good to hear you. Steve, you also. John, I think you're still there. And once again, hope the surgery goes well. Doug, maybe you could be a self-checkout cashier auditor. Stand there. You know, it drives me nuts when I go into Walmart. There's 2 lines open, and they got all these self-checkout. They got all these people running around with walkie-talkies yakking with themselves rather than paying any attention. And, Cliff probably, I told him you need to fuss at me. Can't believe we went to Hamfest. I didn't take some cardboard to stack and put in between things. We used what we could and some jackets and things like that. But it's certainly good to hear everybody all the way around, and hope everybody has a blessed week. And we'll look forward to, I guess maybe we catch you next Sunday. We miss it during the week, usually because we're on another date or headed to work. But 73, KZ4 Bravo, if you're there, John, N4IYQ. Good evening.
Okay, N4IYQ in the group, KZ4, be fine business, Chuck. Maybe I misunderstood, but I thought somebody said that there was no checkout at Lowe's, and Lowe's gives a military discount for veterans, and you have to have, you can't self-checkout that. That would be a problem. Interesting. I can't stand self-checkouts. There's always a problem. But whatever. If Tom, if you're still there, your QRP sounds really good. I was impressed. I've got a Shigu 6100 that I have used on occasion, and it's a pretty neat little thing. It puts out, I think it's 10 watts sideband, 2 watts, which is about like what you described, 2 watts AM. And I've heard the recordings, and it sounds pretty good to me. And the display on that thing looks like $1 million. I've never seen a better display. But it's not 100%. It has its quirks, but it's a neat little trick. And for what is it? Polo parks on the air. It's a real neat trick for that. I will hold it. Charlie, thanks for calling the net, and hope everybody has a great week. And we'll try to do the same. Doug, if you're still there, W4DCS and the group KZ4, be clear.
This is VFO. It likes to drift, but fine business. Yeah, Steve, that what you're seeing at DX Engineering is not the same thing we're talking about. That's the HC 5.1, which is an entirely different deal. The original HC 5 looked like a chiclet piece of gum, and it's a different type of microphone. So just to clarify on that, and yeah, nothing further from here. Just enjoying the net. Charlie, thanks for calling it. I meant to ask you, Steve, you want to take a break? What type of surgery was it that Mir had? Over. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. It's the original HC5. What you're seeing on DX Engineering is different. They discontinued the original HC5. You Google it, you'll see what I mean. Wow, both knees at the same time. Geez, I know people have done well with that surgery. I hope it works well for him. So if you're listening, Mir, thoughts are with you, and hope for a quick recovery. All right, I'm out of here. Enjoyed it. Bruce, here you go if you're still there. N4WD, W4DCS.
I think Bruce checked out, Cliff checked out, Boone checked out. So this is N4AK. And Charlie, thanks for doing the net for us. And if Jimmy's still here, K4JAL, N4AK.
I think he checked out. How about Cliff, WB4NKL?
He checked out.
Okay, well that was the rest. Everybody else checked out, so thanks for everybody that did check in today. We'll look for you on Tuesday, and hopefully Dave will remember who he swapped. If not, I'll be back. Y'all have a good rest of the evening here. W4MEC shutting down the old Friends Net. Bye-bye.